Alright, it's 3 a.m. It's still technically a full moon and it's starting to wane, and I drank Mountain Dew instead of water, and I have no idea when I'm going to be passing out. Also, my throat is sore, my vagina is slightly sore, and my dopamine is low, but not like painfully low. It's at the level where it's just like, I don't quite feel nothing, I just feel strange. And it's hard to explain, but don't worry, I'm not thinking about killing myself. No, no, trust me. I thought about it like yesterday, and then I went, no, instead of killing myself or trying to see who is willing to murder me with my consent, I have someone for that. But even then, I bet he would have said no, which is a good thing. And also, yeah, I didn't want to hit him up again. I instead was like, I'm gonna just admire myself so much, and I did a lot to make myself happy yesterday, and it's bled into today. Even though I didn't do much today, today was a day of me laying down emotionlessly. Or not emotional, it's like I felt a lot, but like not overwhelming emotion, just like a little bit too many at once. But I don't know. I wouldn't call it depression, but then again, just because I feel enough dopamine where I'm able to like sit up and stand up, sort of, but not for too long. And I'm able to look at like lesbian porn, but not masturbate to it. Or if I'm able to think about a crush, but not really feel joy at the idea of contacting him, then it's like, I don't know. Anyway, that's just a little starter to this video to get into my headspace before I get into it. I meant for it to only be 30 seconds, but whatever. We take what we can get around here. Also, my throat is very sore, so I hope you bear with me. I'm getting rid of the bacteria in my throat. Do you ever hate someone or like not like someone but you don't fully? I don't know, just like indifference is such a weird thing. For example, the guy I hooked up with, Mitchell Anthony Peeler. Terrible, terrible man. But also, sadly, blew most other men out of the park. And I despise what he did to me. I despise that he hurt me so fucking bad that only today, the fucking 16th of January, am I able to feel like I can possibly have a happy fucking new year. He could have just taken no for an answer when I was drunk as fuck in that hotel room. He could have. That would have changed everything. He could have just simply not led me the fuck on to believe you were going to be any sort of positive contact or prolonged contact. Like, I'll put it this way. If you know or feel in your soul that we are going to be nothing, then don't treat me like more. Treat me like I'm fucking nothing just with my goddamn consent. Because then if we were to part ways and it was like, what a wonderful thing it was to meet you, thank you for this, goodbye, that would have been 10 times, 100 times better than him acting as if we were going to be some amazing duo that was going to go to Lake Tahoe and Truckee and go camping and go to a gun range and do this and do that together, and just no, just fucking no, man. Fuck. And do you know how upsetting this has been for me? And if you're watching this video, you probably do, because I've made more than enough. I am very, very vocal about what upsets me. And I'm just blown away. But at the same time, a lot of good happened with this man. So I guess maybe I will have to talk about it. If I can't go to sleep tonight, maybe tonight will be the night where I tell you every single little bit of detail of how this man made me so astronomically happy in only 5 days, and he managed to make 2024 like he washed out. He was the best thing of the year and the worst thing of this year. He managed to give me an experience better than the entire year I had experienced. Damn near. And he made me feel loved and appreciated and cherished and admired and like I was cared for. And then the second we parted ways, he changed. And suddenly I didn't matter much to him, and suddenly I didn't care, and suddenly I wasn't the girl he was holding the hand of and looking at lovingly. I was just some bitch annoying him. That destroyed me. And it still kind of does, but not as much as before. I'm just so fucking hurt. But I don't know. One gonna ask, do you hate him, Tamia? I don't know. The way I feel for him is like this. I remember as we hung out, he was smoking cigarettes in his vape endlessly, endlessly, endlessly. And I remember that one factor of that could have just been he was bored and and jittery, and not because we were just sitting around talking for a large portion of the time. And another factor could have been that he was smoking so much solely because he was nervous about like his feelings for me and like how to confront them head on. Because now that I remember it, I don't think I remember him smoking as much like once we actually did confess feelings to each other, at least from what I can recall. I like him in the sense that I kind of I don't want to wish good on. No, I'm gonna say this. I hate him so much that if he got stabbed in the fucking kidneys, I would feel kind of relieved. If he got stabbed in the kidney or the liver, I would feel kind of happy because I've been destroying my liver with amazing amounts of caffeine and alcohol just to try to keep my dopamine levels up. He almost was the reason I could have started off this year happy, and then he fucked it up. I remember the second we parted ways, I felt so euphoric about everything I experienced that I wasn't even sad that it was over. I had several people try to piss me off on my way home after such a magical time, and I still didn't feel upset. I got home to my shitty housemate and landlord bullshit trauma from back then, and I still felt happy. And I was able to just like swoon with joy and look at the photos and videos of us and feel whole and full and happy that I met him. And then I started processing everything, and I remembered the bad, the really bad. I liked him so much, and it ended terribly. You can say that to an extent I don't hate him, but I can't bring myself to even say that I like him. I like him in the way that, like, a frenemy likes a frenemy. In the sense that, like, I've had beef with friends before and ended them, but I still care to an extent. I've had falling out with friends where I have called them every nasty thing you can think of over text and in their voicemail and in their face and thrown glasses of water on them, and yet still you would see me go to their open mic and sit front row and clap for them and smile at them and help them get through a joke if it seemed like it would make them happy. Or if they were devastated over a breakup with a girl, I would let him talk to me about it, about the girl cheating on him and this, and that, if it meant that person could be safe. Because for me, care doesn't always have to rely on if I think positively about a person. I guess this is an even better example to use, by the way. I think of it as the train station metaphor to tell how much you really hate a person. Now, imagine the person you're like, okay, think of a person. I'm guiding you. This is now guided meditation, I guess, or visualization, or whatever, hypnotism, whatever you call it. Nah, not hypnotism, you get what I mean. Close your eyes. Imagine a train station, like a BART station, and imagine the person you're currently beefing with. Now, imagine that you saw them in public, but you weren't hanging out with them or whatever. You just saw them, and then you happened to notice that they fell into the train tracks, and there's about a solid 20 seconds before the train can come and splatter them, and they are panicked and struggling to get to their feet. And you can simply reach down, offer your hand, and guide them back up onto the platform yourself. The answer is, would you, or would you stand and watch? Now, to tell you examples, I remember once I broke up with an ex of mine, and it was like we had several breakups, but it was very messy. Physical violence got involved, emotional bullshit. It was very bad. Such a bad thing. And I hate that I knew that man, but at some point he was my best fucking friend. And I adored him with my horn. So, like, you can't just hate someone like that super easily. And I thought to myself, if he fell into some train tracks, would I help him? The answer is I would still feel sad about what happened, but I would absolutely rush to help him out of those train tracks. And that kind of let me know, good, there is still a chance of forgiveness and friendship between you two. And then there's other people, like, for example, my half sibling, the female one. If she fell into some train tracks, I probably would just keep walking. And I know that's really fucked up to say. I don't give a fuck. I don't. She sucks. Like, bitch, you literally were you were commenting on your homeless sister's GoFundMe, the most narcissistic shit possible, and trying to, like, bitch, it's like I was suicidal, and then each time she was never fucking there. I was struggling, she was not fucking there. She is a terrible, stupid, disgusting, whore, cunt, fucking bitch. I have no positive feelings about her whatsoever. So I hate to say it, if I saw her fall into some train tracks, I would just do as I already do. I would pretend I never knew who that fucking slut was. And if she got fucking splattered, then cool. And I know that's so morbid to say, and the worst part about that, or the best part, depending on your perspective, is that I really mean it. Ew. I really mean it. I find her disgusting. Now, and I guess I kind of use this like test to kind of see how I feel about people. Because emotions can be intense and confusing, but for someone like me, you can still think at the end of the day, like, is there any care residing where if this person fell into some train tracks, would I risk myself getting hurt? Or would I abandon whatever bullshit beef because at the end of the day, I still want them safe? The answer is, like, usually lies within the person. So I guess maybe I could do this on camera because it's like, yeah, fuck it. If Mitchell fell into some train tracks, okay, let's see. If I was at a train station and I saw Mitchell, I probably couldn't even stop myself from crying if I saw him. Even worse if he noticed. And then let's say he fell into some train tracks. I probably would rush over, maybe out of impulse or maybe out of curiosity, maybe hoping that he would notice me and notice that I care and appreciate it. But maybe because I actually do want to help him, or maybe I just want to be like, hey, look, it's me, that girl, remember? Do you remember me? Because you act like you forgot me. And then you hear the train coming, and it's coming fast, and Mitchell's looking up at me, and what would I do? If he looked up at me with the sadness and, like, concern in his eyes, the same concern he showed me during that week at the Queen Anne's Hotel. I remember several times he was concerned for me. I remember I almost did something scary to myself and he showed concern. He did. I remember that if I were crying around him, he would do whatever it took to get me to stop crying and to kiss my face and my tears away and let me know that I was fine. Fuck. Sorry. God damn it. Here's another reason I think I like Mitchell so much. Wow, look, you can tell I meant that because I said that so easily. He knows about certain mental conditions. And he treated me relatively human and nice when he heard about them. I think I could still see a twinge of fear in his eyes, but he treated me like a human, and it turns out on his side of the family, he also has that. It doesn't show up in him, though, which is good. And this is what happened. I remember at some point, I forget which day it was, but at some point I was getting close to having a blackout. And my face started twitching, and I started going nonverbal, and I knew what happened. I know what happens next, and I was trying to stop it. he didn't he doesn't know the full detail of, I think that's the one mental condition I didn't disclose with him. But I just remember he looked at me with such a sweetness and he was like, "Would you like me to help you go to the bathroom?" I don't remember if at that point he knew that I like to go to the bathroom to like gather myself and like recoup. If he didn't, that's even more impressive and a little scary. And if he did know that, then that just shows he was very much attentive around me. Yeah, I think he knew at that point. But he was sweet. I remember he didn't need to do that at all. But I remember I just at some point was like, I need to go to bathroom. And then he was like, Would you like me to help you walk there?" And I said, "Mm-hmm." And he just gently grabbed me by the hand and put another arm around my shoulder and gently guided me around the couches and way to the back room and like helped me get into the bathroom and politely waited until I came back out a lot more mentally stable and grounded. And I know it's like so simple. It is. But I'll put it this way. Not everyone I've met in my lifetime could do that. Like, not everyone, like, even people who have shown concern, they didn't quite show care. They didn't show empathy. They showed disgust or fear or anger if something like that would happen around them. Maybe he's just the first guy in a while that just so happened to be decent, but he showed care. And that's really important to me. He saw a lot of sides to me, and I saw a good amount for him. Maybe not as much, but no, actually, I did. Yeah, he also was a little nutty himself. There's some stuff he told me, but let's just say he treated me with such a sweetness and kindness and tenderness that I don't know if I truly can hate him. I have a large amount of despise for what he did and disgust at his actions and pain, but I don't know. Now, back to my metaphor. 1738. Sorry, I just looked at the timestamp and I was like, oh shit, Fetty Wap. Well, back on topic though. The train station. If Mitchell fell into some train tracks, I would probably rush over. I'd probably abandon the fact that he abandoned me. I'd probably forget all about him because deep down I would remember that, hey, this dumb fuck at some point liked you so much that he woke up and was standing at a bus station at like 5 a.m., way before they even opened, just so he would not remotely have a chance of missing any public transportation to see you as early as possible. And he could have just met you on Christmas Day for meaningless sex, but no, he met you on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and still hung out with you 3 days later and paid for all the, or almost all the food, and 3 days of company and cared. He showed an alarming amount of care. If I cried over my mental health or my family or about my stress or my house or anything, he was there. And there's a lot that goes into it. He was the first good Christmas I had in years. The first. Even despite what happened on Christmas Eve. He made Christmas overall special and lovely, and I adored it. And it was astronomical. It was like something out of some sort of like fucked up Hallmark movie. I loved it. He was there for me, and he gave me reasons to live, as well as reasons to finally fucking end it. But I have to say, even though I tried to hide the photos I printed of us our time together, sometimes I still find them scattered about random parts of my bedroom. And when I see the photos, I blush a little, or my heart jumps. It twists and it hurts, but it also just like makes me feel sweet and soft. I don't know if this makes any sense, but if I look at old videos or photos of me and Mitchell, it kind of gives me a similar sensation as if you were about to have the best hot chocolate of your life, but you remember it scalding you hard as fuck and giving your lip an intense burn, and yet you still drink the drink, and it's the best drink you've had in your entire fucking life. So you're gonna always associate that drink with like immense pleasure, but also immense pain. And that's how I feel about Mitchell. Mitchell, I hate it. I hate his actions, and I'm disgusted by him. But he makes me melt like a fucking marshmallow in scalding hot chocolate. He makes me feel sweet. He makes me feel hot. He makes me burn. Burn good and bad. He doesn't make me hot that much, though. Trust me, the arousal has died off at this point. The lust has died off, and I think that's even worse because I can tell that even as the lust fades away and I no longer think about, hey, what if we actually did manage to have like consensual sex where his dick stayed hard? Like, how would it have felt having him make love to me or nut inside of me or do this or do that? Like, I can, now that the lust is fully subsided, and so has most of the rage and the sadness, as well as most of the romantic emotions, the disgusting part is at my core. I think I still like him. I don't think I can hate someone like him. In fact, I'll say this. You know how I said that he saw a lot of me and I saw some of him? An example of this was that I remember on our, I think it was our fourth day of hanging out of the 5 days we spent together. I remember at some point, we were drinking wine in the lobby. That's what we did, honestly, quite a bit, like almost a little bit too much. What can we say when there's free wine and you, and we kept filling it up to the brim in paper cups and sneaking it by the fireplace and just talking about anything under the sun ever for hours, so much that we would get lost in conversation, and it was amazing. And I loved it. And I remember specifically, this was after we confessed feelings for each other because they had been building up really intensely for both of us, and we both were scared, but it felt like a world of like emotional vulnerability opened up. We both cried, we both smiled, we both like really felt love, at least temporary and at least fleeting, and at least I like to believe it was real. It felt real enough to me and beautiful, and I loved it. Of course I did. I still do. Sorry. I hate this man, dude. Because it's like I know what the fuck he did, and I don't like feeling this way, and I don't like that he even put me in a position to feel this conflicted. Anyway, I remember on our fourth day of being at the hotel, I remember at some point Mitchell brought up estrangement because he wanted to estrange himself from his own family because his own family's pretty fucking terrible. Like, he likes his brother, but he can't stand his mom and dad. Typical, like, extremely verbally and emotionally abusive, uncaring, neglectful, so fucked up that they didn't even care when he got into college, and then they didn't check in with him throughout all of college, and then even when he was going to graduate, he didn't invite them. But also what hurt more is that they didn't even think to ask or care or notice when graduation passed, and the only reason he had even seen them for the holiday season was solely because he had spare free time, and he wanted to pick up nice clothes from the attic that he had there so that he could look good for us on one of our dates out for Italian food. And his mother and dad like were just cold, and they didn't talk about anything other than like the pet dog and what kind of dog diet they're putting him on. And he just was ranting about how much he fucking hates that, and he hates his family, and he despises them actually because it's a lie, and he can't stand any moments around them because he doesn't like anything that feels like it's artificial or not rooted in reality or just slowing him down in his life. And then I'll put it this way, he got so emotional, like he did multiple rants over the course of a week, but during this rant I remember specifically this was one of the most beautiful things he said, and it makes my heart swoon as he said it. At some point he was really emotional, and he was telling me how proud he was that I estranged myself, my family, because not everybody can do that. It's a difficult thing to do, and that basically 99% of the population, it's ingrained in their DNA and their upbringing and their lifestyle and their friend groups and culturally and society as a whole tells you you have to be in touch with your family. You can never lose them, or else you'll fucking die and you will suffer out there and be alone and all this, and that. And, you know, I won't say too much about. Actually, let's skip to the good part. The most beautiful thing he said to me was he kept praising me for that and pointing out how rare it was for me to do that, why it was good, and how my mother was such a disgusting and disturbing individual. Like, he heard everything. He heard about me living with my grandmother with shit on the walls. He heard about my mother literally picking up a newborn infant with one hand and beating the shit out of it full strength as a grown woman in her like 30s and all that. And I remember at some point he got really emotional and he was crying, and he looked so good when he was crying. And he basically was ranting about like someone so evil like that who could just do that to an innocent fucking baby, and to you were just a child and your siblings. And at some point he just let it slip. He said, someone should fucking murder your mother. And I thought that was very wild, because mind you, this is a supposed Christian man, who's supposedly mentally stable and stuff. And like, and he didn't stop there. But at that point, I already was kind of blushing and smiling a little bit, just because I thought it was a little absurd. But he kept going and he was crying, and I remember how rosy his cheeks got and how the tears would not stop flowing from his eyes, and how he was just like, he didn't care that other people could hear him. He didn't care how he looked. He was just like, I would fucking kill your mother for you. I would fucking kill your mother. And that, I'm gonna admit, that made my pussy twitch. Hell, it made it twitch right now just remembering it. God, that's hard. Simply put, I want you to imagine that you prayed for a man who was exactly your type, and then you find out that it's like, oh, he's not only extremely what I'm physically attracted to, like he might be one of the most attractive men I've seen, like maybe not, well, no, almost in this lifetime. Like, fuck, he's gorgeous. But then you also hear him say, like, thank God you estranged your mother, she's an evil bitch and I would murder you for her. It's funny because I've also joked to people that it's like, if someone wanted to fucking propose to me, and if they couldn't afford a ring, if they just simply had a gun, this is a joke, not a dick, don't take it hard, but it's very dark, so I get it. Not everyone is mentally unstable, so I get it. Well, let's just say I made a certain joke that it's like, hey, you can always just show up with a specific bracelet that I will recognize off the bat, and I will know exactly how you got it, and I will say, yes, I'll marry you on the goddamn spot, and I'm gonna leave it vague. But yeah, simply put, it's like, it's just like, oh wow, here's a dude I'm incredibly attracted to saying he would kill my abuser for me for what they did to me and what they continue to do to other children. I had never been so attracted to a man in my life, which is probably why this is so difficult. God, I'm attracted to him, which is really disgusting and disturbing for so many reasons. But yeah, I like him a lot. He's a sweet fella. And if you're wondering, to me, why would you even be attracted to someone who would say something like that? I'll put it this way. Imagine you spent 20 years of your life under the fucking rule of someone who neglected so many of your needs. Anytime you had a life problem, big or small, they would find a way to make it 10 times worse. You had to suffer through eating disorders. You had to suffer through intense poverty. You had to deal with your clothes not being washed and no showers and fucking no fucking tables in your living room or kitchen to eat your food. So you have to eat standing up. And then for that, you have to deal with abuse and the threat of getting hit in the face with a wooden spoon or slapped or attacked or beaten with a belt just because a bitch feels like it that fucking day. You have to be like, God, for years, so much of my life was fucked up from that bitch. The way I eat, the way I existed, the way I hid in my room all the time, the way I felt like I was barred from certain parts of the house, like hygiene habits, eating habits, friendship habits, romantic habits. I'm sure if you like, trust me, I see the direct correlation between why I use men to fill in the gap, in the void in my life, and how I had to survive for years basically doing that, using men as an escape because it didn't matter how fucked up I was or what they wanted from me. I needed an escape from a terrible fucking place. And even if the men hurt me, I would still feel good in the process to an extent. Because at least it would get me more time out of that goddamn house and some food in my stomach and a place to shower. And a lot of bad happened to me. I'm just saying, you have to really go through that to understand. Oh, that's why I don't blame bitches like Gypsy Rose. Gypsy Rose Blankard, I get it, girl. You had to do what you had to do. Cause that bitch, like, Gypsy Rose Blankard's mom pulled out her fucking teeth, shaved her head, had her sitting in a wheelchair and fucking malnutrition and shit, and so much bad happened. I don't fucking blame her for what she did. Not in the slightest. Not, like, really. And plenty other stories like that. And most of my life, even now, even with some of my edgiest or most woke or most social justice or save the children friends ever, I still see people who are like, oh, abusers are bad. Oh, yeah, sucks you went through that. But they never give that much of a fuck. And here was the most attractive man ever, who I already had so much in common with, crying in front of me and just pouring his heart out about how I deserved better and how he's so glad that I'm happy and how he hopes I have a wonderful long life and a bunch of kids myself because I need to. And he said, someone like you needs to have kids because there's so many evil people on this planet already and you need to offset that because you're smart, you're intelligent, you're beautiful and gorgeous and stunning and you know it, and you're fucking care about other people and you actually do good, and the world needs more people like you, and I hope you make more people like you. And there's a man like that who's treating me so well, and he's just like, your mother needs to die. I would fucking kill your mother for what she did, because you didn't deserve that pain, and the children she was with didn't deserve that pain, and that pain probably manifested subconsciously in their little brains and probably have fucked them up to this day, and any kids she's dealing with now probably would do the same and more. And he was such a lovely, empathetic, sweet, goddamn awesome man. And yeah, I know this video won't, like, I get it, not everyone's gonna agree with the topic of this video for a lot of reasons. But simply put, I'm gonna say it, that's how some of these fucked up, complex dynamics people have can fester. Because simply put, someone who needed to be seen was seen by the wrong person or the right person. And the right person doesn't look like the right person to you, but it does to them. Kind of like when Angelina Jolie was going out with what's that guy, Billy Bob Thornton? Yeah, everybody was fucking confused by that. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is people sometimes meet people that are perfect in a way that might not seem perfect for you. You might be a pacifist, but Simply put, not everybody needs a pacifist. And also, before you get too concerned, obviously this guy hasn't fucking murdered anybody. My estranged, disgusting parent is still very much alive. And I don't care what happens to them at all. Hell, semi related, I remembered that my mom had a rotting tooth that was really fucking up her mouth for a long, long time. And I remember specifically that I met some mutual friend recently, and they were like, "Oh shit, you have pain in your mouth? You might want to get that checked. It could be an abscess, and that could fuck up your mouth and your heart and stuff. How about this?" And then he sent me a link to a dental college and said, "If you look here, then they can probably do your whole mouth for free." And in that moment, I remembered my mother, and I remembered how she has extreme mouth pain and all that shit. And guess what? Do you think I contacted that bitch to let her know? Fuck no. Even though I have everything in the world and every fucking thing one would need to be able to contact her, I fucking haven't. Because I don't give a shit. Fuck that bitch. For all I know, she could have figured out how to get that tooth pulled by her own goddamn self. And then even if she hasn't, that's not my fucking problem. Because I had to figure out how to do plenty of shit entirely by myself without her fucking help. I had to figure out how to recover from several sexual assaults and how to emotionally process and recover from them. I had to learn how to handle my temperament and how to not get afraid when I hear slamming fucking doors or random bullshit. I had to learn to grocery shop for myself, budget for myself, job search without her, get up my own place without her, get my own credit score without her. I had to learn how to handle shit like revenge porn and bullying and harassment and repeated goddamned bullshit without her. Why? Cuz she would make it worse. And fuck her. So it's like, you know what? Let her figure that shit out by herself because I had a million things I had to figure out without her involved whatsoever. And amen for that. So I'll say it like this. If I saw Mitchell fall into some train tracks, I might hesitate to walk quickly at first. Not inherently out of a lack of care, but just because I wouldn't want to seem too overeager. I wouldn't want to embarrass myself by being like, "Hey, look, it's me, the girl you fucking shut down from before. You know, the one who went loco on you, the one who still kind of likes you a lot." I would still walk over just to observe the situation. I would hear the chewing of the train. I would hear people clamoring around us but not doing a damn thing because they're pussy, and I would know it would rely on me. And the sad thing is, I don't think I would hesitate for a goddamn second. Aside from like trying not to sprint over there, doing a little jog, not a sprint, I would fully do whatever it takes to pull that man out of those fucking tracks, despite him hurting me, despite him treating me so fucking shitty after this and more. But you know what? He showed signs of care when I needed it most. And I know that without him, I would have just spent another fucking Christmas alone, staring at the ceiling, trying to sleep through the day and trying not to be depressed. But because of him, I got to know how it feels to wake up at Christmas morning at like 5 a.m. and then have a beautiful man who's just your type basically spring next to you and immediately start kissing you all over your face and lips because it turns out he was eagerly waiting for you to wake up too. And then I remember specifically on Christmas morning, it was the most beautiful, like purple, orange, salmon colored sky with the stars still twinkling. And it looked so goddamn gorgeous. And I remember that I walked over to the curtains just to admire it. And he was like, "Pause, stay right there." And he grabbed his phone and took as many photos while praising me as possible, letting me know how beautiful I was and how angelic I looked, and making amazing photos of me that I actually did get printed because they look so damn good. And I remember that, he couldn't get it up, but this time consensually, he ate me out. Fucking good, both holes. And it's like, do you know how good it feels to like wake up Christmas morning with a beautiful man and your legs pinned back and he's tonguing you down with a beautiful, like, lo-fi hip-hop looking, like, amazingly mauve and rich violet and salmon orange and pink fucking sky with the stars sparkling through the veils of your curtain to your hotel room, and just like embracing each other in arms. And we showered together and we did a lot, and it was nice, and we got to do a lot of nice things. He was the type of man where we could be getting Christmas, like breakfast at the spot, and then I could simply be thinking about something, and he would already be getting it for me. Like it would already be in my hand, because he just somehow knew. We had a crazy connection like that. Or he was just a very intuitive man, for better or for worse. In some ways, not always the smartest man, but he still was a lot better than most. He just made me feel very consistently loved, and I guess I made him feel loved too, and I appreciate that. So I guess no matter how bad things ended, as gross as it is, I hate to admit it to myself that I do hope that he reaps the consequences to anything he's done to me and any other women, if he's done similar to other women and hurt them in any capacity like he's hurt me. I hope that that every single consequence he feels bad for, he suffers for, and he cannot hurt me or another girl the same way again. But for the good he did, I can't hate him. I don't know what I would describe it, but I'll put it like this. I remember how he told me both his parents got cancer, but still kind of like encouraged and pressured him to get into smoking. And I remember as we hung out, he was endlessly smoking. And I don't want to admit that I care, but I suppose I care like this. If he got stabbed in the fucking kidneys and lived, I'd check a little bit, but I'd also be relieved that he didn't pass away and that he could still live his life. But I would also be the type to be like, hey, I hope he doesn't get cancer, because it would suck if he did. Even though there's like a sick part of my brain that's like, well, I don't even want to say it, it's just an intrusive thought, so let me not even say it, but I care about him enough where I'm not actively wishing the worst on him. Or, okay, I sort of am. Absolutely, I am. Every single time I think about him, I say, fuck that nigga, hope he's going through hell. The universe is going to fucking punish him for his bad actions. Of course, I've been actively wishing him bad. I'm just saying, unlike other people where you'll hear me say the most brutal, disturbing fucking shit about how much I hate them, with this man, it's just as simple as, like, I don't want him to hurt anyone else like how he hurt me. And I hope he grows and changes as a person. And I am sure we will never meet again, but I love what good he did for me. And I will, at the very least, if I don't have him, which I don't need to have, I'm kind of, it's okay. I at least have a lot of amazing, wonderful memories and know what I want out of a future husband or a person to have kids with, because he was almost damn perfect, trust me. Anyway, so at least I get to figure out how much I feel about him. And I know, don't worry, before anyone goes, but Tamia, you cried about this man for weeks. He traumatized you. Yes, he did. He also helped undo a lot of damage that other people did, and he made it worse. I'll put it this way. He has forever, I see him as like some sort of divine gift sent from the heavens that's like, you deserve a good Christmas, but here's also a reminder that you should stop trusting men and see them as wallets. I'm gonna admit that. I see him as that, and so far so good, I guess. I've been crying for weeks, but this week I've just simply been like, you know what? I don't like men anymore. Why am I hesitating? And so I've been getting almost everything I want from men, because I just don't see them as capable of truly being able to love me in the way that I love them. But I guess with him, whatever it is, there's still something there that makes me be like, that's just has me like, thank you for being the first man to see me and treat me amazingly well and adore me in the way I have always wanted. And as much as it hurts that it didn't last, I guess, I don't know, is the quote, it's better to have loved and lost than not love at all, apply? I think it sort of applies. I'm glad that I met his stupid, fucking, disgusting ass. And I'm glad we had such beautiful, amazing memories. And I am happy that I ever met him. And yeah, he should be fucking grateful that I would even think to pull him out of the tracks after what he did to me. But yeah, I'd pull him out of the tracks. And maybe I'd hope that we would talk. And maybe it would hurt if he just got up after a simple thank you and walked away and never spoke to me again. But I don't think I would regret pulling him out. Not at all. And do I regret meeting him? Sadly, not at all. I only regret not cutting him off a little colder, but whatever. Anyway, thank you, Mitchell, for the good. Peace out. Bye.